Brews and Banter.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Roman. How are you?
Doing great. We have Bruce in the studio today.
Well, he's like odd man out. Like, we're twinsies. Look at
I didn't get the memo about that.
Well, you guys are more twinsies than, well, not even now.
I know it actually has, this is the
grew
longest
overnight.
hair I've had.
Well, jealous. This is day 2, but it doesn't get much longer. At least in some spots.
I am usually bald, but it's been crazy, and I didn't even have time to shave. It's funny, we have a
barber. Are you a razor man, or do you go to the barber for it?
No, I do it myself.
Okay.
And it's either a razor or I have a machine.
Yeah, I just got a Groomie, which I'm a pretty big fan of because it's just like, zzz, and then 4 minutes later I'm done.
Yeah.
So is it rechargeable?
Yes,
Is it made in the USA?
that's a great question.
Because Roman's been looking for one. You can't find one.
I'm trying to find one made in U.S.
So this is called Groomie.
It's called Groomie. So there's Groomie, Freebird.
I have that one, Freebird.
I've done Skull Shaver. It kind of crapped out after a little while. Then that's the whole thing is like keep them sharp enough to where you're not cutting your head up. Like
How do you sharpen them? You sharpen these things?
No, those are replacement blades,
yeah, there's,
right?
there's replacement blades, and then the Skull Shaver ones. It's just like after 2 weeks of use, it was already too dull, and I was like, I'm not going to buy a new one of these every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My hair is too thick.
Now you got to try the Groomie.
Yeah,
We'll try it in your back first. If it works on that, you're good for fucking years.
If it can handle my ass hair, we're good.
I came across. I don't think it was Groomie, but I was like scrolling on Facebook, and there was some guy shaving his ass with one of those things, and I was like, I didn't need to. Like it showed both cheeks. I was like, I feel like this is aggressive. I don't need to see both of your cheeks. I know what you're shaving.
Yeah. It's aggressive.
It's like what's that? The trimmer lawnmower.
The lawnmower, yeah.
4.0 or whatever. I don't know what number they're on now.
Which I didn't realize that's basically the same thing too. They're all the same design, just like under different branding. It's like some guy must be getting rich off that.
There's probably just one person.
He's just like, I fooled them all.
Bruce, tell us about yourself.
Introduce yourself here.
Yeah,
your name and
sorry,
stuff,
we just kind of jumped in.
Hi, my name is Bruce Alexander. I go by Coach Bruce. I am pretty much brand new to Baldwinsville. I came from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and I am a life coach and business consultant. I ended up here kind of at a roll of the dice. We left Oklahoma because the summers are miserable. If you guys don't know, it gets up to 110, 115 over the summers, and it's
humid or dry heat?
Both. Like it's not both at the same time. It's definitely not like Alabama or Florida where it's like super heavy, but sometimes it's humid and it's always just hot over the summer. So my wife wanted to get out. And she's got family in the Auburn area, Camillus area, Buffalo area. So we were like, what's kind of in between all that?
Yeah.
We found this place.
Well, in between would be like fucking Virginia, but you guys just fucking went all. You guys went all the way, man.
No, in between all of them, like if we're gonna leave Oklahoma, let's leave Oklahoma.
Yeah, because you guys there's a 180 right there compared to what we're having right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what brought us here. And now my goal is to a little bit about my mission is to in the next year and a half or so is to help 100 Baldwinsville locals get more of what they want in their life. As a life coach, I have this really great opportunity to use what I found through my experience and the skills that I've gained, help people get more of what they want. Sometimes it's just sitting down for a coffee and just like helping them figure out one problem. Sometimes that one problem, like they're so happy to have solved it, they're like, yes, I want more of that. Let's start a relationship. For me, I don't care. Like if it's one conversation, if it's 10 minutes, if it's, just one problem I'm able to help solve, for me, that is like, it's what excites me. It's what gets me up in the morning. It's what, really gets me just pumped about life is that I have the ability to ask questions and help people solve problems that they're not really able to ask themselves. So yeah, that's what I do.
So people can contact you and they can just say, I want them, whatever the topic is, and then is it a half-hour thing, or let's just get together however long it takes is how long it takes? Or?
So usually, like initially, it was like let's sit down, and then however long it takes out. But I homeschool my kids, where like my schedule's a little busier. I'm seeing more clients, so now I'm trying to like cap it at 45 minutes to an hour. And the easiest way is if you go to my new website, realcoachbrews.com/home. You can fill out a consultation form, and it kind of goes over all the different possibilities that there are. Basically, if you fill it out and just turn it in, we'll set something up.
Yeah, I see.
That's the goal.
So when people say life coaching, give us like a broad description to someone who doesn't know, like, what does that mean, life coach? When people say, I'm a life coach, well, like...
That's a loaded question.
I know, just like something for our listeners to kind of get a basic idea of a life coach.
So the thing about life coaching is because it's unregulated, because there's no I have to have this. to enter the field, it runs the gamut to people who are total garbage and are going to say, like, I'm going to take your money, and they're going to, they're not going to really do anything for you. They're just, it's hard to even explain how a bad life, because it's just, I can't even fathom how you can do that and not care about people getting results. Yeah. For me, what a life coach does is helps you, like I said, I work off the 4 key V's. Like, this is the easiest way for me to explain it. Vision, that's the first one. It's like, I help you identify what you want in your life. Velocity, I help you identify how you can get it faster. Vitality, I help you like strike a balance between what you want, what you have, and like how you get there in a balanced way. And then victory, like I kind of stay with you through that process until you get the win that we've identified. That for me is what the process should look like. For some people, they just like, even me early in my career I was just like, okay, I just want to help you. And I would try to help with everything, doing everything. It's like, and sessions would be completely off the wall, and there would be no direction. And it was, it ended up like kind of scrambling things up. And it's like, you feel better, but there's no results. Right. For me, it's like, I want people to like leave a session with me and say, here's what we figured out we need to do to move forward, to move the needle towards what I want in my life.
And there's different types of life coaches. Is that right?
Yeah, like I said, it really runs the gamut from people like me. I'm a life coach and business consultant because I know that the best way to run your business better is to become better. Like, if you become a better version of yourself, your business is going to be better, period.
So you're a life coach for business development and growth?
So I am a life coach for entrepreneurs and business professionals.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's who I do because being an entrepreneur myself, the struggle is real. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that especially if you are a parent and you are an entrepreneur, there is a level of chaos that you have in your life that if you don't know how to deal with it, it's terrifying at times. Right. Yeah. I've been through that. I've done that. Like, I'm still doing it. I understand. Like, I'm navigating that like minefield. So those are the people that I feel like I'm the most equipped to help, is because I understand that process and I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing it. Like, am I the most successful business person? No, but I am probably one of the happiest and most, not content, like the most passionate about life people that you're probably going to meet, because I understand what I'm looking for. Sure. Mm-hmm. And I understand how to ask myself those questions and ask others those questions.
And now, are you limited just to Baldwinsville?
Like I do virtual work, but as far as meeting in person, it's, if you are willing to come to Baldwinsville, I'll work with anybody. Sure. Mm-hmm. But it's to protect my schedule and what I want for my life. I'm not going to like drive all the way to Syracuse to meet somebody for an hour and then drive back, because like I homeschool my kids. My kids are very active. They're doing a lot of stuff, and I want to be part of that. I don't want to miss that.
So you could do Zoom calls or anything like that. Sure.
Yeah, I do Zoom calls for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people book it through your website, or?
So far, so my website just got back up. Usually it's just, I get an email, I get a text message, whatever, and then we talk, and I'm just like, hey, does this time work for you? But like, I'm getting my website back up to where you can book through like the Calendly link and stuff. But that's just hadn't been a thing, because the move from Oklahoma to Baldwinsville kind of threw everything. Is like, well, where am I meeting? What's happening? Who am I meeting with? Like, everything's starting to come back together now to where it's like, I've actually got people starting to ask those questions again.
And in Oklahoma, you had like your own office? Like, how was the process?
My office was in my house. Like, my front, we had a sunroom in the front of the house that was like kind of walled off to where you didn't have to walk through my house to come back to my office. And it was really nice because that's where I recorded my podcast. I could have, clients come in there.
That's where you bake like a fucking oven in the sun.
Well, mostly it was before we left in the spring of this past year. So we spent the summer traveling the Northeast.
Okay. So how long have you been in Baldwinsville then?
Since September.
Okay.
Yeah, but we spent the whole summer. We went to the Adirondacks, the Catskills. We Rhode Island. We went to the beach. We did it all. Yeah, good. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Northeast is beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
And so, what were you doing before this? Were you in the military or anything like this?
I was a firefighter for 10 years.
Oh, okay, nice. Great.
So yeah, that was a part of my life. That part of it was really, really enriching. It's where I learned that I loved helping people, but it was also not my favorite time, because there's a culture in the fire department that is very macho and is I'm not that guy. Yep. Like, I'm definitely we talk about emotions, and I'm like very, get in touch with that stuff and talk about who you really are. And that's not the fire department. So there was a lot of like, you don't belong here. So eventually I promoted out of the field, and I promoted very fast, did really well. I finished as a major, and I was working in public got public education, and that was where where I learned that I loved teaching people. So I loved helping people, and I loved teaching people, and I loved presenting, and all of a sudden I was like, maybe I could do something else. And I got to do all those things, but I didn't have to deal with this culture that I don't fit in. Yeah. And that's whenever I started to look at starting my own thing. I left thinking that I had something, but whenever I initially got on my own, it was like, wait, you have no idea what you're doing. I was like,
well, that's probably where you come in for everybody else, though.
Exactly.
Because they just don't really know maybe what those steps are and how to proceed or what the first step even is.
Absolutely. You know? And that's, whenever we find a good fit, that's exactly what happens is somebody is where I was, which is that terrifying place where you stepped off that precipice into this infinite realm of possibility, which is really exciting, or it's really terrifying. If you're asking yourself the right questions, is really all that it comes down to. If you're looking at like, how am I going to make money? What am I going to do? My family is like, they're depending on me. That shit's scary. It's really scary. But if you're looking at, oh my gosh, I can literally do anything right now and I can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. As long as I start to take action and I start to move forward, then I can, like, everything I ever wanted to do is possible right now.
So there's a motivational piece as well that kind of, I guess, falls in line after you hit these certain milestones or steps along the way that you're kind of taking as an outline, I suppose, or some sort of appendix for the path to take in order to succeed.
Absolutely. And for me, like, I don't have, like, I've got some life coaching certifications. Like, I am a certified life coach, but that's not what I rely on at all. Mm-hmm. For me, what I have to offer is my unique story and my experience. The fact that I've been there, I survived it, I'm thriving through it, and I'm continuing to face those obstacles that people who are going through they don't know what to do. And that is like, that's what I bring to the field is like, how do you do all of this and be a parent, do all of this and be a spouse? And then also like, let those things, instead of letting them like weigh on each other and drag from each other, learning how to build momentum from your personal life to your home life, to your business life, to your body. All those are all the things that I like to work with because I had to learn that myself. Once I learned that, it's like, oh, these things they're not competing for attention. They're feeding into each other. So then we can be a better version of ourselves and then everything's better.
Sure. So you wrap it all up into time management, a little bit of personal health, some organization, and sort of how to manage day-to-day life with all that.
Absolutely. It's a lot of, like, my biggest thing is frameworks, like learning, like I said, the 4 V's is like, those are things that you can look at. It's like, well, okay, what is my vision? If you were to take the 4 V's and you were to go work on them on your own and were to really put in work, your life would get better. There's no doubt in my mind. If you're like, okay, I'm going to focus on my vision. I'm going to define that. I'm going to figure out what I really want in my life. Right there, your life has already gotten better. Most people don't know. Okay. Most people are like, oh, I don't really know. I don't what is a vision?
And most of those people are like 17.
17 in their minds forever.
Yeah.
Like it is. I mean, I met with somebody today who she was older. She's 24. Yep. She's still 17.
Yeah.
Like, we'd met once. This is the second time. And I offered her like a free coaching session. I was like, hey, like, I want to help you. Like, I really love your energy. Like, I'd like to meet again. Blah, blah, blah. We meet. She didn't do she did the homework really lazily. And I was like, would you let yourself get off with this if this was for your work? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
No, like, I kind of phoned it in. I'm like, why? Mm-hmm. And her answer was like, I can't really make myself want to make the time to work on myself right now. I was like,
yeah, that's kind of step one.
That's being 24.
Yeah.
That's not having the pressure of kids, not having the financial pressure, not having the scars of having fucked it up.
Yeah.
Whenever you fucked it up and then you see an opportunity to not fuck it up, you're like, I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
But whenever you've never
He's
fucked it up
all the time.
I'm a fuck up.
I mean, look at his hair. He grew it back.
Oh, no.
What the fuck?
I think some people have a hard time loving themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I guess maybe, or respecting yourself, whatever. Like if they can get past that stage, now you're like, I gotta take care of myself. Maybe they don't put themselves ahead. Like of course I'm gonna put my son, my wife ahead of me.
Absolutely.
But I think when you're single, if you have that mentality, I don't have time for myself, you're not doing yourself a favor.
No, you're absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's not healthy either.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. Yeah. And I was trying to tell her, I was like, you're in the springtime of life, right? You have the opportunity to plant all the seeds. You have the energy to plant all the seeds. You have the time to plant all the seeds. Someday you're going to be in the fall of your life, you're going to be like, well, how come there's nothing to sow here? Well, because you didn't plant the seeds. Like, I'm telling you, plant the seeds now because you're going to appreciate it later. And she's just like, I just don't get it.
Well, and I think we should clarify, planting the seeds is directly related to women, but you don't want to tell a lot of guys you should be planting your seeds.
Hey, let me help you plant your seed. I promise you'll like it.
You'll enjoy planting your seed, planting it. The care afterwards
as long as that's part of your plan.
Yeah, exactly.
So you come from Oklahoma. So have you ever seen Street Outlaws? Have you ever watched it down there?
Street Outlaws. Yeah, that's
the street racing.
The place where they worked on the cars was right, like, I would say less than half a mile from the station, like the public education center. Yeah, I was like, someone was like, hey, that's Street Outlaws, and I was like, oh, cool. And then they pulled one of the cars out, and I was like, oh, that's
Have you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So Street Outlaws, there's many seasons, and now they started a whole, there's Street Outlaws Memphis, Street Outlaws here, and there's this, and so they kind of branch off. But it's basically people just take cars, Novas or Pontiacs or some sort of thing, and they just build these big ass fucking engines and put fat tires on them, and they just race on the street.
Oh, so it's more like for racing.
Yeah, but I guess what they're doing, it's definitely illegal.
It's definitely
but now you see in the show, like, so at first they'd try to find places to test, but and then there's certain characters that are always back and all these things, but then I see some other shows later on that they had like temporary lighting, like at night, and then they'd have like ambulances and stuff. So I'm like, how are you getting this through illegally? like, you don't think someone's gonna drive by like, holy fuck, look at that product, it looks like an airport. You're like, so I don't really know.
Oklahoma is the Wild West. Like, I don't know if you know this. Like, you can get away with a lot because just coming up here and hearing the regulations for like your car inspection.
Well, you're paying for the air in here, by the way. You're gonna get an invoice.
penny per breath.
I better start skip breathing.
Hokel's gonna make you have a permit to breathe it.
So in Oklahoma, it's so different. Yeah. Like, the stuff you can get away with, to me, it was like, comparing it to up here seems crazy.
Yeah.
Whenever I lived there, I was like, oh, that's not that weird. But for one, Oklahoma City is massive. It's 643 square miles, which is like, it's one of the biggest cities in landmass in like the entire country. So finding a stretch of unwatched highway or unwatched street, like even like just Oklahoma City, like there's so many areas that are just like untended to. So you can just, you can find a place to drag.
And how far are you from Texas if you drove? Like the border for the mat,
I just know from Oklahoma City to Dallas was like 3 miles or 3 hours.
So okay. Yeah. So that's not bad, right?
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But also from Dallas to Austin is like 6 hours, and Dallas to Houston is like 8 hours. So Texas is massive. Oklahoma's not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do all that because they have like I said, they would have these different, New Orleans. They'd have like a Street Outlaws thing versus the people in Oklahoma versus the people in Texas versus like PD Small Block in Brooklyn, New York or something like that. Like, it's all these weird things, but like I don't know how New York ever wins everything because you got fucking 8 months of winter. Like, how can you test?
Maybe they're just hungry when they get out. They're like, I'm tired of being inside.
And that's it. So you guys, your snowfall in Oklahoma it's probably like 30 inches average or something.
I don't know. We don't even pay attention to it. It's like whenever it comes, it's like, oh shit, snow. And so like,
you just shut everything down. There's a fucking quarter inch.
You don't have plows, right?
No, they do have plows, but it's like it takes a lot to get them out. So it's like if it snows, usually you're just going to be inside for a day, at least. And
we get 4 feet, and they're like, take your time getting to work.
Exactly. It's like there's going to be a delay getting to school today. It's like, bro, like I have to go outside and take my kids to classes and stuff. Like, oh my gosh, like,
not for you.
Huh?
Not now, right? Because you're homeschool?
Well, the like MMA classes. Shout out to Sullivan's MMA. Dylan's a great dude. Love that guy. He's teaching 2 of my kids, and now 2 of my kids just started doing parkour class at DeSimone's. So, like, I still got classes to take my kids to. I'm like, come on, let's homeschool. Let's be at home.
Have them come to you.
Right.
Someone needs like a business where they come to you and teach, like.
Hey, you can do parkour in your house. You got stairs?
They are. Do you have children? They are constantly parkouring. Like, just jumping over the couches like, hey, Dad.
Yeah. It's like so is it all boys?
No, it was 1 boy, 3 girls.
Oh my God, that's 3 weddings. Fuck. Have another sour. Woo.
I don't think of it that way.
What are you drinking?
What's that?
What are you drinking, Bruce?
So I'm drinking Dream Patch. It is a delicious fruited sour.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it. I'm a big fan. I like sours. What I found is that beer is like, for one, the gluten kind of messes with my tummy. Like, I know that sours have gluten in them too, but it's worth it because it's like, it's a sweet little treat.
Yeah.
You can use beer as a tool for life coaching.
How so? Teach me.
Well,
Funnel it there. Everything's better.
all right, this one is free, okay? This session is free. But it's a nice relaxing tool. It's like if someone shows up all nerved up, like, have a beer. But
and here's why I'm not going to do that. And I'm not saying it's like a terrible idea. But this is a common misconception that people have, that your feelings are bad, that your nervousness is bad, that your anxiety is bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It can the way that you react to it can definitely be bad. The way that you let it manifest in your life 100% can be bad. But most people don't listen to their emotions. They don't allow them to speak to them in a way that like allows it to be helpful. What I work through with my people is like, hey, for one, you have your vision. What do you want in your life? What are your goals? What are the things you're trying to work towards? Whenever you have this emotion, like I'm super angry because my wife did this thing or whatever, I'm pissed off. Okay, what is that emotion telling you about what you need to expand on? Usually there's something. Usually if you do a little digging, it's like, actually, I'm upset because I messed up and I'm trying to blame it on my wife because I'm afraid to deal with XYZ. Mm-hmm. And then once you start to deal with XYZ, you find out that, oh, I dealt with that thing. And actually now I've become a better version of myself because next time this isn't going to trip me up the same way. So that's why your emotions are actually like these tools. They're these signals to action, right? It's like if you pay attention to how you're feeling, it's like when you feel depressed, it's a signal to action to change something in your life. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that depression is not real. Depression is real as fuck.
Sure.
Yeah.
It feels real bad sometimes, but usually if you take action to solve what is depressing you in your life, things get better.
Yeah.
If you sit there in your depression and just wallow, things don't get better.
It's interesting you say that because it's a lot of, like you said, it's a lot of something maybe that you did beforehand, identifying something that's a problem before.
Yeah.
So you know there's a problem here, but there's something that happened before that kind of made this maybe worse than it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like so much of life coaching is teaching people to handle problems upstream versus reacting all the time.
Yeah.
Like so many people like in our common society are just in the business of reacting. People don't want to do the work to prepare. It's like if you do the work to prepare your mindset, prepare your body, prepare your business for the things that you know are going to come. Every one of us, like I tell every person I sit down with, you have the answers already. You're not asking the right questions. So if you do the work, you start to ask yourself the right questions or get the right questions asked to you, you have the answers to prepare for the things that you know are gonna hit you. Right? Especially like in your business, especially if you have a business, you've seen enough to know whenever I'm going to try to bring this thing to market, this is going to be a problem that's going to happen. Most people don't take the steps to protect themselves from it. They're just like, when it happens, I want to be wrecked.
Right.
I hate when that part happens. Like, well, then don't go through that part. Yep. Let's figure out a way how to avoid that obstacle, and then be like, because then also we get to from frustration to finish faster. That's like when you remove the obstacles, you get to just increase your speed. You get to do things faster and gain more quicker. Move to that end goal in a faster manner. It makes sense when you think about it.
Again, our whole country is just fast. Everything, as an American, it's just you don't get to wait like they do in Italy, and there's no Europeans, like everything's a rush, right? But do you see a difference up here in New York versus when you were in Oklahoma, as far as the pace and how people sort of react? And
that's a good question. So far, I haven't noticed, but I feel like my engagement here with people has actually shown me more that there are good people who like really
just not Armenians.
No, I meant bad Armenians in Oklahoma. No, I'm just kidding. No, like the people are more alike than I thought they were going to be, because you hear like Southern hospitality and you hear like Northerners are kind of uptight, but really there's been more hospitality up here than I expected, and people being like really welcoming and stuff. But like the pace has not been like, it hasn't been different. Like, or maybe I'm just in a higher pace too, because just like everybody I work with, I'm constantly working on myself. So who I was before I moved up here is not the same person as I was then. So maybe it's just my perspective has changed, and like I'm moving at a faster speed. So I just don't notice it.
Have you been in New York City yet?
I've been to New York City before I moved. I have not been, and I don't have a desire to take my.
I was going to say, because then we can have like a part 2 after.
I come in and like I'm all. It looks like
you're
I haven't
talking about this hospitality. I'm like,
I think naturally big like metropolitan areas kind of has to be fast paced.
Yeah.
I lived in Boston and worked in Boston.
No.
And it's always fast paced.
We drove through just to get here, and it took like 2.5 hours to get through Boston. It was like, fuck this place.
Like 4 miles, right?
Like, exactly. It was like, what? Yeah. What is it's so congested. And like, Oklahoma City is a pretty big city. Like, it's a pretty metropolitan city, but it's, I guess compared to that, the pace is much slower. Like, it's, you can get to places and you don't have to like be in traffic the entire time. Traffic exists, sure, but it's like, it's not the norm. In Boston, traffic was everywhere all the time, and I was like, I never want to be in a place like
Boston. Boston passion and history is. I mean, I wouldn't say unmatched, but it's pretty close to something pretty unique in the country.
I worked right next door to Paul Revere's house.
Oh, really? That's badass.
You take a dump in his toilet?
No, but I went through his house. It's funny. I worked
and just took a dump in the hallway.
I didn't use it. No, I didn't take a dump in his toilet. It was
I went into his master bathroom.
His kitchen. It was a kitchen.
The ceilings are really low in the house.
People are taller now. Like it's so weird that people are older, people are taller.
Oh, that's why
fatter. Like we're just.
That's why the cars get bigger because we need more room.
Well, they make them shorter also for heat, right? Back in the days, like there was less surface area to heat. Or I guess I don't know if they thought of square footage.
Yeah, if they were smart, they did. I don't know. Maybe they weren't that smart.
So you stick with me. You're going to learn.
They were just like, I'd rather cut this long of a board than this.
It's like I don't need that one.
Or what it could be like during sex, you could put your hands on the.
That's how they raise the roof.
What gain is that? Like that's not a power position. Like nobody's.
I don't know. I'm too short to try it now, so I don't really know what you get out of it.
I'm always thinking, and that's important. Asking
Listen to your feelings, okay?
I'm listening.
Exactly.
Was it feelings or emotions? What did you say earlier?
Both.
Feeling. I only have one feeling.
Oh, okay. Because I don't listen to myself. That's what he feels.
Right.
Yes. Don't let that guide your actions. That's the worst one.
No, sometimes my inner self is like scared. I'm like, shut up, bitch, do it.
Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is probably the best advice I can give somebody, because doing the hard stuff is hard. Like, I mean, so much of life coaching is like saying simple shit at the right time. Like, but doing hard things is hard. But the better you get at doing hard things, the easier it becomes.
Right.
They're still hard things.
Yeah.
You're just more used to doing hard things because you have gotten better.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What a concept, yeah.
It's what a concept.
Anything is difficult if you don't know how to do it or used to it.
Yeah.
Right? So
absolutely.
Well, there's a natural instinct for the unknown. Like there's some hesitation, but it's not always as bad as you may think it is.
Almost never.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to say it never is, but it almost never is as bad as you made it in your brain. Like, your brain is your best friend and your worst enemy. Because, like, it can dream all the possibilities, but it can dream all the possibilities.
Right.
What if I fuck up?
Yeah.
What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? If you stop feeding into those things and start feeding into what if it does work? Yeah. What if I succeed? What if all my dreams come true? Start feeding that shit, then all of a sudden you start doing stuff that you never would have done. My favorite phrase right now is from Jim Rome is, to have something that you've never had, you have to become somebody you've never been. And I'm like, I love that so much, because the person I was 2 years ago wouldn't have come on the show to talk about this stuff, because I wasn't as comfortable as I was being in front of a crowd. I wasn't comfortable enough with myself to show up and say, I have answers for people.
Right.
As much as I've been a counselor, a coach my entire life, whenever people came to me and said, hey, can you help me? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I love doing that. It's always come naturally.
So you're saying before this business, even you were just helpful by nature.
My wife's like, she told me before I went to the fire department, she's like, you should be a counselor. And I was like, no. Life coaching has literally called to me from way back before I started really working anything. But I was like, that's stupid. Like, that's that woo-woo shit. Like, I don't want to, like, life coaching is lame. Like, I thought all the things that, most men think about working on yourself. But when you look at it at its base, it's helping people get the most out of their lives. What's lame about that? Mm-hmm. It was because I was scared to get the most out of my life. So ipso facto, I wouldn't look at the thing that would help me get the most out of my life. It was like this, the serpent eating its own tail. That's what that life was. It was like I wouldn't look at what would give me the most out of my life because I was afraid it would give me the most out of my life.
Oof. Yeah. So would you say that you're what you're doing now and the results you help people achieve are also affecting you positively because you get to see that you're helping those people those results?
Dude, I'm in love with my clients' results. Like I'm addicted to it. It is absolutely the best feeling in the world when somebody gives me a text like, I said no to that thing because I knew that I don't want that in my life. It's like, fuck yes. Yeah. Yes.
That's what we do with onions. We fucking say no to onions all the time.
What?
Never onions.
He's such a baby here.
Onions make your penis shrink.
He's 17 inside.
No. Have you ever had a Texas sweet onion?
No. Is that like a goat nut or something?
No, it's an onion, but it is my.
Don't waste your breath. It's expensive.
You'll be getting an invoice at the end. I gotta remember that. Texas sweet onion is my favorite onion.
Oh, I can't stand onions. I love garlic.
Onion. How do you love garlic and hate onions?
Garlic doesn't make me cry.
What about onion dip?
How about onion nothing? Nunions.
Well, you eat a Funyun.
I won't eat that. No, I don't
those aren't even really onions.
Yeah, that's like ramen noodles that are onion flavored. It's just plastic. It's just gonna melt in me.
I've had this conversation about mushrooms many times. I'm a big mushroom fan.
I'm not a mushroom fan.
That doesn't surprise me. This commoner, he has no taste.
Peasant.
No, I'm a foodie. Like I love to cook. It's something that I don't do it nearly as much as I used to, but like whenever I cook. I go in deep. Whenever I smoke. Like, I put in the 18 hours of, feeding my fire for the brisket. Like I love that shit. So whenever somebody's like, I don't like, I'm like, but you haven't had mine yet.
Yeah.
Like, let me make you an onion dip, or like, let me try this specific onion that's so sweet. And it's like, you could almost eat it like an apple. Like Texas sweet onions are the fucking best. But if you don't like onions, then
what happened to you with an onion that you have such a...
Yeah, let's dig into this.
Yeah.
Like,
it's still there.
Story.
It's still right. It's a tip of the rectum right now. Someone like,
I think just the word onion is like deterrent.
There was a period of time, like 3 or 4 years, where I didn't have any ketchup because I had onion powder in it.
Stop.
I have ketchup. I have ketchup now. Yeah, I know. You're right.
Stop.
It's a hang up. And then I drank beer. I'm like, I'll get over it.
I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I wasn't gonna call you a toddler, but you're a toddler.
I'm gonna change my name to Todd.
Nope.
I'm gonna change my name to Todd.
Back to Brews. First lesson's free.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I really hate the flavor of onions themselves. So then you're kind of like onion powder. Fuck it.
But maybe, like Bruce said, you haven't had food with onion that...
Well, like McDonald's onions on there, I don't like those onions.
Nope.
I'm not going to sit there and eat onion. I'm not going to have raw onions. I don't like onions.
No,
time the fuck out. We just start talking about high-class food, and you haven't had a good level of onion, and you go to McDonald's?
They're getting their onion from somewhere. It's probably from Texas.
That tells me that you are not ready for this conversation. He's not ready. No. He's not ready for this conversation.
Let's move past onions.
Yeah, please.
When you said if you get satisfied... I love helping people. So you've helped people before. You were a firefighter. Then you were a firefighter. You've helped people. Now you're a life coach. There's a satisfaction, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, my wife always says, when someone needs something, they call you, always go, but you never ask anyone for help. And then I thought about that when she said that. I'm like, that's true. I feel like a burden when I ask someone for help.
Yeah, that's a problem.
But when someone asks me for help,
that's right, your problem. Bitch.
I'm like, yeah.
So if I don't know if you listen to any of my podcasts, but in one of my best episodes with a friend of mine named Derek Sire, he is one of those guys. He will do anything for anybody who asks him, like 100%. But whenever he goes through something, he disappears. And I was like, you selfish motherfucker.
Yeah.
Let your friends friend you. That's the biggest thing is like, whenever you like decide to carry all your shit yourself, you are robbing your friends the opportunity to show up for you. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you saying about them? Oh,
you're selfish for doing that. Oh,
what are you saying about them that you don't think that they're gonna be able to help you handle your burden? You're saying I don't trust you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like in Alaska, these people all just trade. You help me, I help you. That's kind of what they do. I mean, we're not in Alaska, but it feels like it. Yeah.
But like, here lately.
Yeah, but that's what they do. Like your neighbors, everybody just helps everybody. Like like the Amish community does this. They just everybody's got to get together and do shit.
Like I'm not doing that because I don't trust them.
I mean, we kind of are.
Yeah.
I'm saying
I'm with Coach Bruce.
I'm saying
here,
I feel like I'm burdening them. Like I'm putting a burden on them.
And you don't trust them to handle your burden.
Oh, this shit's
No,
deep,
no.
man.
What I'm saying
you
is,
need another sour.
I don't want to be.
Take one of these. Like,
You want another one?
Yeah,
Same
absolutely.
or something different?
If there's another sour, I'll try it.
There's a different sour.
We got more sours. There's that Talea on the left.
Ask him more emotional questions while I'm gone.
No,
we're going to talk about yours.
So
you
Roman's like
open this up.
4 feet away. Let's talk shit about him. He doesn't have his headphones on.
He can still hear me. Like, he can still. You know how sound works?
No, fucking onions. Yeah, too many onions. It hurts your hearing too.
Oh my gosh. None of this is true.
The Talea is on the bottom left, Roman. If you wanted that one, the peach one. There's a peach Talea on the bottom. That's fine.
Yeah, that looks good. The pink ones. Ooh, sour Starburst.
But yeah, we can get into sort of why that is for you, Roman. I don't have a problem asking for help, and I don't mind helping anybody. You know.
And so what I'm seeing here, Roman, is that it's not that you're doing it on purpose. It's not that you're like purposely mistrustful of people. It's because you think that you're the problem solver. I solve my problems. I solve other people's problems. I solve problems, which is great. You should solve problems, but sometimes you can't solve the fucking problem.
That's true.
Sometimes you need help.
I agree. And I want to say I don't 100% never ask for help. I do ask for help. It's just majority of the time.
If your wife tells you, then it means that you very seldom do.
Majority of the time, I figure out to do it myself. Sometimes like people ask me, so Frank said that, I'm in construction and there's stuff that I had to build and I had to come up with how am I going to do it by myself because I can't get anyone here right now to work with me.
Because you didn't ask anybody?
I didn't ask anybody.
I can't get anybody here. Yeah. If only the phone works.
Yeah, no one's available if I don't call them.
Right.
By the time I send the telegram, it'll be too late. But yeah, so I figured out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this beam up by myself. Egyptians build pyramids, fuck it. So
by themselves, apparently.
Yes, one person.
The whole big person, fucking stone, person. Yeah.
So I always find ways to figure out, and I feel like when I do that, I learn something about myself. It gives me satisfaction. I'm like, fuck yeah, man, I did it. And you're right. I do like solving problems.
So here, like, let me just interject something. So it's a balance, right? So learning, I can do hard things. 100%. That is fantastic. But you already know that. Like, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, you already know you can do hard shit, or else your business you would have already quit, right? So you can do hard things. So you don't need to learn that lesson right now. Sometimes it's about how much time am I giving up to spend with my family by doing this on my own? Mm-hmm. Like, if I had just asked for help, me and my friend could have gotten this done in 45 minutes to an hour. It took me 4 hours to do it by myself. It took me 6 hours. It took me 12 hours.
This is super insightful, so we're not even going to fucking cheers you. We'll cheers ourselves.
Fuck you.
I'll cheers you. Oh, sorry.
But that's interesting how you do that. Yeah, like time management and my supervisor would say it's lost opportunities. What could you be doing in place of what you're wasting this time on if you could have had better help?
I mean, and they talk about the 80-20 rule. Like, there's 20% of the things that you do that will really move your life in the direction that you want, move your business in the direction that you want. And most of us spend time doing the 80% that doesn't. And we don't do that 20% because that 20% is important, but it's not urgent. Like, most of us spend time doing those urgent things where it's like, it's screaming for attention. It's like, do this, do this, do this, do this. Even though those things don't move us towards what we really want in our lives. Mm-hmm. Often it's because we don't know what we really want in our lives, but those who do know, so like, oh, this thing, I gotta mail these letters and I gotta clean this house and I've got to do this. Whenever somebody who's got a business that is, kind of taken off, you should probably be paying somebody for some of that stuff, but it's like, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at it and say, somebody else could do this faster, more efficiently, and I could go do the thing that I'm good at, that I'm passionate at, that brings in all the money instead of wasting my time doing these other things.
I have been that way for the last few years. So before this, I've closed a few businesses in the past because it was I was putting a lot on myself. And
nice. Okay, if you look at my Facebook page, you'll see that I posted, I think 2 days ago, if you don't learn the lessons that life shows you, it'll keep showing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've closed a couple of businesses because you wouldn't ask for help. You put it all on yourself. It's going to keep showing up in different ways until you learn the lesson life is trying to give you.
Fuck, this podcast is going to close.
But no, guess what? He asked for help. He's not by himself on this one.
Well, you kind of know not, buddy. I hear all this bullshit. I don't want this back.
He's like, you know what? I can't handle this burden. I'm out of here.
So my lessons in life from that experience has been to better manage my time. when I hired a foreman a while back for construction business, when I hired a foreman to take over some of the things that I was doing, I forced myself to let it go. Like, don't micromanage.
Yeah.
Let him run these things. Let him do it. He over time learned how I like things. He adapted that, and he was able to take care of things. And he was like, dude, like, why are you breathing over my shoulder? And I said, give me time. It's my uncomfortable zone. So just give me time. I'm working on it. He understood. We had great partnership, and I mean, he eventually went on his own, and I'm happy for him.
So you helped him so much that he fucking left? Man, you're just so good. Like,
No. Just he went a different pattern in his lifestyle, and with me with work, I can be sometimes too demanding, and but I kind of have to be, just because the way business operates. If you ignore time and time, you don't pay attention to time management, you start to lose money. And it's all about. I always try to like make sure the guys are always paid on time. The money's coming in. I've lost savings during COVID because I had payroll going for the guys.
Right.
So it's important for me to take care of people, make sure that the people that are working for me, their needs are met. Yeah, I might be hard on them, but something needs to keep this machine moving.
And so what I'm hearing right now is that you, like, for one, I love that you want to take care of your people, but often this results in a communication issue where I'm going to like breathe down your neck. I'm going to do everything that I need to do to get you to perform like I want you to perform. And I'm going to take care of you, but I'm not going to ever talk about it. I'm not going to make that connection. It's like, hey, I'm breathing down your neck because this is the way I want things done, but I've got your back.
Well, what do you mean talk about?
With your employees, with your contractors, with whatever.
Yeah.
Is having those open and honest conversations about what you need from them and how it's going to look. Because I can feel it already. I already feel the pressure. It's like,
I'm sorry to
Thank
interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. No, 100%. I create good relationship. I'm just
do you
saying,
have a high turnover, or do people stay with you for a long time?
most of the time they stay. Well, so now I no longer have employees. I changed my business tactic, and because I need to concentrate on other things to be more productive and successful. But I set all my guys up in the right direction, help them with the business and everything.
So do you have contractors now, or?
Yeah, so everything is subcontracted. But all these are the same guys. So I kind of got them rolling. And
you have former workers that are now your subs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So they come back for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And I pass some of the clients on to them, so they're building their relationships. When I need, jobs to be done, I need subcontractors, they kind of prioritize me.
Yeah. Okay, so never mind. The communication issue wiped off.
But before that,
job.
so when I had 5 employees, so total at the most I had 5 employees, and we would have weekly meetings, and I always welcome ideas, opinions, feedbacks, and things like that. But I have to say, being in that business, when you were talking about you have to do hard things to get better at something, this, I don't know, I don't want to say generation, but because they're older, in this time, I don't think age even matters, but people have gotten used to just bitching about things.
Yeah.
So much fucking whining, right? I would even have that coming from adults who are working with me, who are older than me. It's like, I have to do this. I'm like, can you just stop bitching? Just do it. Just do it. Like, if this is the job, just do the job. I'm not telling you to scrub the floors with a fucking toothbrush. I'm just saying.
What if you were?
Although it may be coming.
Then if it's in the job description, then so like what I've learned in some of the courses I took is that everybody who owns a business is a coach. You have to be a coach. Yeah. You have to be able to coach people to do the hard things, because otherwise you're doing all the hard things and you can't be effective as a businessman. I think that is super important to like recognize people like to bitch about things and then move on. It's like, yes, people like to bitch about things, but it's your job to get them to do it and do it well anyways, and then to change the environment to where they stop bitching about it. They realize that it's part of a bigger vision. And that's what a lot of employers are not great at anymore, is I feel like in the 50s and 60s, everybody was good at selling this idea of what a business was. It's like whenever whenever you had like Oscar Mayer or whatever, it's like everybody knows, like, we want to bring, great hot dogs to people. And it's like everybody knew what Oscar Mayer stood for. And it's like now there's such a saturation of business. It's like if you don't have a clear identity as what your business is and what you're doing for people and how you're serving people, like, you want to serve people, but all your people need to know that you want to serve people. You need to know that scrubbing that floor with the toothbrush serves people. How does it serve the people? Once they understand that, then they stop complaining so much about, that toothbrush on the floor, because they're like, people are excited to come into our bathroom because they're the fucking cleanest. And, if you go into a bathroom that's shit and it's gross, they're like, I don't want to go to this bathroom again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get the best food ever, but no one's ever going to want to fucking go because you got a shitty bathroom, right?
It's like, I can hold it for a long time, but usually, like, once a meal, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom.
And if it's their food that's causing it, well, then...
you better have a clean bathroom, because then they're going to assume that something's not clean in the kitchen. Right. And then the questions are going to start getting asked, and
No, but there's a lot of things connected. Like, I'm a big... there's hoarders, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a hoarder. I'm the opposite. Like, I don't need anything. Like, you give me a chair and a remote and my dog and, my family, they're pretty cool. I'll take up
the dog first.
Yeah. Well, he's part of the family. Yeah. But, like, I don't need shit on the walls. I don't need anything. Like, I don't care about these other people that have too much clutter. I'm like, it's overwhelming to me. I'm like, I just can't even deal with it. It's not even mine. I get, like, fucking anxious seeing it. Like, how would you get out in an emergency? Or how do you find what you're looking for in this stack that's this big, that's right here? That type of thing.
Yeah, so, like, this is the way I work. Whenever I hear somebody complain about something that, like, makes them anxious, my first thought is like, okay, well, what's their block there? Because
onions, fucking onions. Onions are the problem.
Because being a hoarder, 100%, it is definitely one of the most smothering things I've ever seen or can think of. But also, like, maybe to me, there's something different. Is like, did you live in a hoarder home, or did you, like, was there something in your past that, like, kind of made you have this aversion to seeing people have too much stuff? Were you in a lack for money? So whenever, you see people with all this shit, you're like, and I never had that.
But it's mostly junk.
It is, like, but all that junk costs money at some point.
But you see people like, I watch the show a couple times because I just can't anymore. I'm like, but like they find like a dead cat underneath, 10 years worth of magazines.
Usually when there's one, there's at least like 3 or 4 dead cats. Yeah. Like, I can't watch hoarders anymore. It's too much.
I'm sympathetic to the people that have this problem. I get it, but that's not me. I don't need that. Like,
no.
But I have a little bit of OCD. Like, you've seen my barn. Like, everything's lined up and it's it's cool, it's clean. Like, but that's me. It doesn't affect anybody else. Because I want to when I come home, I want to put my keys somewhere that they're always going to be. I don't want to have to wonder where my keys are.
I'm not going to say that it affects anybody negatively, but it definitely affects somebody else. If you have OCD tendencies and you live with a family, it affects them 100%. It affects probably your...
Did you just make a fucking gesture?
No, I'm just guessing. It probably affects your podcast partner. Yeah. And, and it's, for one...
No, in a good way.
Like I was ADHD. Like, I am ADHD. Like, I was medicated for only, over 20 years. I've been off my medication for almost a year because I started to deal with the stress that my life was in. And then all of a sudden the symptoms started to show.
So it's a possibility to not have to take it the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not going to say that what worked for me works for everybody, sure. But whenever you start to deal with all the things that have been stressing you out for your entire life because you never dealt with stuff, then you start to deal with them, and it's like, it's stressful to deal with them, but the stress that it caused not dealing with them is so much worse. And then all of a sudden, like, all the symptoms that I had, like being late all the time, talking inappropriate stuff, like, just being kind of just random, they just drastically diminished. And then I also figured out that I can work through all of these, challenges and find ways to integrate myself into a business scenario without having to be somebody I'm not.
Right.
Because that was the biggest thing, is like, I initially hated what I was doing as a firefighter because I was pretending all the time. I was trying to pretend like I wasn't different, but I was different. Like, most people in the fire department are not ADHD.
Right.
It's not something that they have to deal with. But I was trying to act like I was like them, and I wasn't, and it made things so much worse. Because they were like, you don't fit in with us. Like, we don't feel like something's off about you. And I was like, but I'm just like you.
They would say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really weird in itself. Like, why would someone say that?
That's weird.
It's mostly this. His name was Baiko. He's not going to listen to this. His name is Witek Baiko.
His name's what?
Witek Baiko. He had Polish or something in his. Funniest storyteller I've ever heard, but the worst person to work with I've ever worked with by far. Mm. He would say, like, I don't know what it is about you, but you're just not here for the right reasons.
What?
Okay.
So whenever my wife was pregnant and I was on the job, I was smart about my time. You get FMLA leave. Yeah. I took it intermittently. So then I could work one shift, then I could be off for the next 10 days. Then I come back and I work one shift. And so I was able to spread my time out over 3 months. And he was like, I looked at your fucking Facebook and you were out there playing golf. What the fuck? I thought you were supposed to be off taking care of your baby. I was like, you think that like I'm just going to sit here and stare at a baby for 24 hours whenever I'm off?
Because I sleep for 23 of them.
Exactly. Right. It's like, and you know, me taking care of myself is part of this deal.
Yeah.
Like that's part of being a good parent. But he guilted me for what I did in my own personal time on the job.
That's jealousy.
That's a dick move.
He was a dick.
Did you work two 24-hour days or something?
No, so it was 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 4 days off.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Kelly schedule. Yep. And it was, I mean, it was pretty good if your wife and your kids like it, which they didn't.
Yeah.
And it's like whenever you get married, you think that, you know, like I signed us up for this job thinking like, this shouldn't be that bad. And she's at home alone at nights with, you know, with 3 kids to start and 4 kids in the middle is like, yeah, that's pretty tough.
Sure.
So, you know, but anyways, like you're going to have those people that you deal with who are going to try to make you feel like you need to try to be like them in order to get along. Mm-hmm. Once I stopped doing that was whenever I started to really like get into the idea of like developing myself to be a better version instead of trying to pretend like I was a different version. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes in your work environment, it can take that one person to ruin it. I was, not anymore, but volunteer firefighter here locally for 5 years. And just great group of people, like family, you know?
Yeah.
There's every fire department is going to have politics and that kind of bullshit. But outside of that, everybody was supportive, good. I feel good, like, you know, actually doing something for community. Like it's rewarding, right?
Yeah, the job is.
Through feelings.
The work is incredibly rewarding.
Yeah. I've learned a lot. Even so, when my son was born and just a lot of family commitment, and I couldn't balance that and be a volunteer firefighter. Mm-hmm. So I had to leave. And when I left, I even felt sad, like I teared up. But if like I ever have free time, well, I shouldn't say it like that. Whenever I have opportunity, I would go back to doing that because I feel like it's a little bit you give back to community.
Absolutely.
It's that extra shift I'll cover or whatever, you know, or I'm available to show up that might make someone else's life better because I helped.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think like when there's someone in the workspace that's like that, like that guy, I can't even say his name. What's his name?
Witek
Baiko.
Hey, Witek, if you're listening, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah. See what you did, man? Kidding. You fucked it up, dude.
I'm just kidding. I forgive you. I appreciate your funny stories. The dude was hilarious. It's crazy.
But you don't,
don't treat people that way.
The fact is, you don't have to conform to what someone else wants you to be, anywhere you are.
And,
you know,
and you don't owe him explanation why you're golfing. That's none of his business. Maybe that was your only time to kind of do something for yourself.
That's literally what it was. Like you got 4 kids at home, brand new baby. Sometimes you need to decompress or else you're going to blow up on somebody. Yeah. That's, everybody knows that. Yep. And it's the fact that, you know, he knew like I shouldn't have to keep that a secret. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy, you know, and that took a lot of growing for myself is because like, I thought he was right at the time. I was like, well, what am I doing? Like, you know, if I'm off, I should be off. I should be like locked in my house and nobody should know that I exist. And like, it got into my head, man. Like I was like, he did his job. But
here's this guy now wasting his time checking up on you.
Oh yeah.
What could you be doing? Right.
He spent so much of his time, like, you know, literally policing me. Like whenever I was in the station, like he would, you know, be like, why do you walk like that? Pick your feet up. Like, so he outranked me. So like whenever I drive, you know, to get hours for my promotion, he'd say, why do you have your hands on the wheels like that? Why do you sit like that?
A fucking micromanager.
Dude, the biggest micromanager. The guy was the worst. But then he'd sit down at the dinner table and he'd tell a story that would have you in stitches. Right. So it was so hard because it's like, and he'd like every now and then be like, you know what? They call me BA, even because that's what my dad was called in the fire department. He did the same thing. And they say, you know what, BA? You're actually all right. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Thanks, you're actually all right. It's like, why are you so surprised?
He's a funny dick.
He's a funny dick.
He's
absolutely.
A funny dick.
100%. But those people, like, I appreciate him in my life because it took me through the fucking ringer. had I not been through that situation, I never would have started to do the work to get my shit straight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. I would have been okay with the comfort that I had fallen into, because in Oklahoma City, being a full-time career firefighter is a good fucking job. By the time I left, I was making over $100,000. Like, that is good money to show up, I think 10 days a month, work, and then be off the rest of the time. And I mean, I guess whenever I left, I was doing 4 shifts of 10 hours. So, but I was in an office and I got to go out and talk to people, was my job. And not only that, they paid for me to get my college bachelor's, excuse me. And while I was doing it on the job. So it was like,
you get paid to do it.
Yeah, the job was fantastic. So I wasn't going to do anything to figure out my life until I started to deal with these personalities that life was saying, like, you're getting real fucking comfortable. Like, this is not what you were meant for. And for me, like, I know now that I was meant for more on this earth. I was meant to impact people and create shifts in people's lives so they're able to live more and do bigger, better things. So I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being that dick.
I strongly believe that. I
say that to Roman all the time.
Thank you for being that dick.
I strongly believe that mistakes and struggles in life is what shapes us in better people.
For sure, yeah.
I tell my son all the time, I said, we learn from mistakes. You know, we never have answers into, like, humanity over years developed through mistakes. No one came and said, this is how the plane is made, build it and you'll be perfect.
Right.
There were accidents, people die, like, mistakes were made. We will learn from that. So it's like scientists, right? Medicine, shit like that. Like, there are mistakes made along the way that corrects our course to success or to be better.
Well, yeah, mistakes is one way to say it, but also learning lessons.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and here's why what I believe what I do is important is because many people make that mistake. They see their mistakes as mistakes. They see their experiences as experience. They see their failures as failures. But what I know is that the blueprints for success are in the failures. So we talk about your failures. We figure out what were you doing that was wrong? What's different now?
Right.
What do we need to do different? What can we learn from that? Like, let's collect the information. Let's take, and a big part of my platform of teaching is dealing with the truth. A lot of people, like American society, especially men, it has become very, very normal to not deal with the truth. To say, like, I'm fine. Like, I'm okay. Whenever that's not, like, most of the time it's not true. Either you're better than okay, and you don't want to, like, rub people's face in the shit. They're like, oh man, I'm really crushing it right now. Or you're not okay. And most people, they're just, like, not comfortable saying that because they've been accustomed to telling that lie.
right.
Whenever you don't have the facts, like whenever you're not dealing with the truth, you can't figure out a formula so then you can find a solution. As soon as you are willing to, like, stop pretending, deal with the facts of whatever situation you're dealing with, now all of a sudden all the facts are out there.
Right.
You can start to take those pieces, plug them in, and figure out how they fit to make the new thing that you want. And whenever, like, I teach people that, they're like, oh, so obvious.
Yeah, oftentimes it's, if you just take, again, we talked about how everybody's in such a rush here. Oftentimes if you just, you make a mistake, if you sort of reverse engineer and figure out how you made that mistake, this one little thing here could have prevented you from making that mistake.
Yep.
But you're in such a rush, and it's inherently an issue with America, I suppose. Yeah. And I mean, our society and our environment.
And I think that it, is worse in America, but I think it is the human condition. Yeah. It's like, our strive to improve, to get bigger, better, stronger. Like, I feel like that's a pretty human thing. It looks different in many different cultures and whatever, but all of that drives us to, like, try to kind of leave our failures in the past. But those failures are really the quickest way to advance up that ladder to your greatness.
Yep, to your success for sure. So, well, we had a great conversation, I think.
Welcome to Baldwinsville.
Thank you, guys.
It's good to have you here. Say your website and your social media. People can connect with you.
Absolutely. So my new website is www.realcoachbruce.com /home. And I feel dumb because I somehow locked my main .com. So Real Coach Bruce is now a 404. Like it's like 404 page not found, but /home is how you get my regular page. I would love to, anybody who's interested in seeing what this whole thing is about, I'd love to talk to them. You can find me at Real Coach Bruce on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I don't really do TikTok anymore. I was like, this thing is going to shut down. I'm not messing with this anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to now.
It's not going to, but I don't like it. I never liked it. I didn't want to do it. But and also you can find me on Facebook at Bruce Alexander. It's just my personal Facebook, but I share a lot of the stuff I'm dealing with, I go through. That I feel like that's the best place to reach me is Bruce Alexander on Facebook, because that's where I'm the most active. Mm-hmm. Like I share stuff to my other stuff, but really Facebook, and then LinkedIn, Bruce Alexander. I'm on there too because that's where the business people are, and that's what I have to deal with.
Yeah. Yep. And you said earlier you offer consultations.
Yes. So basically, if you are curious to any degree about how you can get more what you want in your life, I'll reiterate what I said earlier, is that my goal is to help 100 Baldwinsville locals by the year 2027 get more of what they want in their life. If you are curious about how I might be able to help you get more of what you want in your life, just you can give me email me at bruce@authenticidentitymanagement.com. That's my email, because that was my first business name, and I'm not going to talk about that. We don't have time. But that's where you can email me, or you can get on the website and you can fill out a consultation form. We'll sit down for 30, 45 minutes and we'll just talk about, hopefully, how I can create some kind of impact in your life. And just, if nothing else, answer one question that helps you move forward powerfully to get what you want.
Great. And consultation's free? Or?
Yeah. Consultation's free, 100%. And, that, to me, my goal is to serve. I really want to help people. Jim Rome said, if you help as many people as you can get what they want, you will ultimately get what you want. Mm-hmm. That's that's what I'm leaning into, is I really want to help as many people. I want to expand my blueprint. Right now, I can show up to the Chamber of Commerce and I can see, 4 or 5 people I've sat down with who know that that guy, he helped me.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And that excites me. I want the whole town of Baldwinsville to anytime I walk in somewhere, hey, Bruce, whether it's because we had a coaching relationship or it's because we had one conversation and it was man, that was really helpful. I like that.
And this is definitely the community for it.
Yeah.
It's
I love this community. Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, welcome again.
Thank you so much.
We wish you success and reach that 100 people in Baldwinsville.
I hope so. I feel like I probably should have just done a year, but everybody else, I do have fear.
Yeah.
I was what if I don't get there in a year? Those 2 years. So
if you don't get there, then the next website will be nevereatonions.com.
Oh my gosh. Where do you live? I'm just going to come to your house and bring you
Let's end this so we can kick his ass.
And then we'll talk about, we got to talk about Hopped Up Network.
Yes.
Join us on there. Catch us out on this independent podcast of really beer or business related podcast. So you can check us out there and on all the socials.
All the social media, X, Facebook,
YouTube, Reddit. Reddit is vicious.
Yeah.
Vicious as in good or bad?
No, Reddit's if they want to tell you you're a piece of shit, you're going to find out pretty quick, and people don't hold back. It's
maybe get off Reddit.
Yeah.
Is it driving your business?
I haven't been very active on Reddit.
So we did. It's not a huge business driver for us, but we've made some connections through there. Yeah. But it's just the people on there, just basically they'll let you know if you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, Reddit will roast you. Yeah, 1,000%. I know that,
and I appreciate that. That's okay. So
yeah.
As long as it's funny.
Yeah.
Thanks for honesty.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So, but we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And
this has been great.
I hope you want to come back.
You guys are good at this. You're doing the right thing. I know that as a podcast host myself, you often feel like you're just screaming into the void. And it's why am I doing this? This is why conversations like this allow me to talk about what I love to talk about so much, but also people get to listen to interesting conversations.
Yeah.
And we get to meet people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get to meet people. It's a great platform for so many different things. So I'm glad you guys are doing this, and especially in a town as small as Baldwinsville. You guys seem like you are the podcast of Baldwinsville.
Thanks, man.
Well, we're trying to be something of Baldwinsville.
This something, those guys.
But yeah, we appreciate it, and hopefully you're open to coming back at some point, and we'll discuss that.
Yeah, come back again, and we'll talk about the 100 people you've helped.
Anybody who wants me to come talk about this stuff, I'll say yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm so passionate about just helping people, kind of ask those questions that they're kind of afraid to ask or don't know. What scares me the most is you don't know that you're not asking these questions.
Right.
One of the clients I met with this morning was I hadn't really thought about that. Like, what do you want? I haven't really. I'm like,
well,
you're not going to get it if you.
I just thought of a catchy phrase. Unlock your unknown. Contact Brews.
Ooh, nice. Hire Roman for marketing.
That sounds like the X-Files.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking it does have a little bit of like a Egyptian
Mystery.
aliens, like, but it also sounds good.
All right,
Pretty good.
Cool.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you so much.
Bye.
Bye.